Today I found a family of deer. It was a doe and her two young ones, and a buck that was following it. Saw a cicada molting, found a bobcat with its largemouth bass catch, and we found a eastern cottontail track. My name is Mike Bach, and I consider myself a lot of things. A tracker, a nature enthusiast, a hunter, someone who just likes to have fun, and most of all, just a jack of all trades. If I put my mind to something, I can do it. I've always felt so at peace with nature, so it's just been one of those getaways for me. The coolest thing that happened to me, earliest, that kind of, I guess, got me hooked into nature was the fact that if I would go to the beach with my brother and I'd start catching snakes or catching turtles, I'd tell him cool things about them. He'd be very, very, interested about it. So as that kind of progressed, it just kind of drove me to do more, learn more, and kind of branch out to more people. I have a lot of cool experiences early on that kind of continued to get me hooked, like through scuba diving. I got to swim with manta rays that were out of season, or swim with sharks that weren't supposed to be there. And it just seems that every time I go out into the woods, things happen that shouldn't happen that really just kind of click with me. My parents kind of learned early on that buying me toys wasn't as effective as just giving me free time to go out into the woods and have fun. However, as I started to become older, they expected me to branch out from this and do something a little bit more broad, like something going to school for biology, becoming a doctor, or something like that. They're happy that I was going to college, but they weren't happy what I was going for. So they've been continuously trying to prevent me from pursuing a degree in wildlife conservation. They're always trying to make things harder in the attempt to make me change my mind so that they'll help me with a degree in, say, becoming a doctor. But for me, I see how miserable they are on a relatively daily basis. So for me, I came to the conclusion that it's better for me to do something that I love and passionate about. If I'm not making tons of money, but enough to get by, that's more than enough for me. But for them, they kind of go with the idea that the more money you have, the better. And it's just not my style. My trip to Africa was kind of like a life-changing experience in a sense. It got me involved in a lot of different things, mostly tracking and kind of the idea of wilderness education. And the thing that got me into tracking the most was one of the times we went out there, actually my first time, I was on the trail of a lion, and the instructor didn't expect anything to come of that. However, we're going along, he's talking to the rest of the class as I'm kind of in front trying to follow these tracks. After about a half hour, we hear this loud roar, like grumble in a sense, and immediately he jumped in front of me, and everyone stood still. And after a few fake charges from these lions, we actually ran towards them because of the idea that if something runs away, that it's food. And the only thing that runs towards a lion is something such as a hippo, a rhino, or an elephant. So those kinds of things are dangerous to the lions. That was a really inspiring moment for me, and something that kind of made me want to stick to it. I walk barefoot most of the time because it kind of gives me a connection to the earth. The whole idea of being barefoot also expanded while we were in Africa. We climbed a mountain called Table Mountain, and I wanted to see if I could do it barefoot. And after doing that, it kind of came to be one of those things that if I can climb a mountain, I can just walk around barefoot, not a problem. When I came back to the States after the trip to Africa, I started doing an internship for this lady who does a lot of wildlife track and sign. And after working with her for a while, we became really close friends. And she actually kind of introduced me to a bunch of people who started this wilderness school. And I've been working there ever since. So I've been thinking about starting this wilderness school here in Connecticut, kind of focused more towards people who are more in public school or private school, not in the homeschool setting, and teach a lot of similar things. They're based more off of Native American traditions, and I'd want to do a little bit more of a wilderness survival, thrival kind of school. I think awareness and connection to nature and the environment is crucial to human survival. Ever since we've more or less come to be, we've always had that connection to the environment, to the wilderness, and it seems over the past maybe 50 to 100 years we've been kind of losing it, and it kind of feels like society is starting to take a downward spiral. So I feel that the connection to nature is one of those things that everyone loves, and it would honestly make the world a better place if we could work more one-on-one with nature, or at least set aside some time to connect with our roots.